What is stop procedure? So stop procedure can be seen as a prepared SQL code that you can save and you can reuse anytime over and over again. So in the sense of preparing SQL code, initially or traditionally, if we want to write our SQL code, we have to keep writing all the query like select all from employees. SQL queries could actually be longer than that. There are some really complex SQL queries that you really have to write about 20 or 50 lines of queries when you are joining tables and you are, coalescing, you are putting a lot of condition in there, especially when you're writing transactional SQL. Those are pretty much high level, but we'll eventually get there if you stick around. So just to focus on stop procedure here, we could even have some time where we actually want to um, join, you know, we actually want to join tables and all that on, let's try this on employee ID, MID equal to student ID. There are so many things we could actually do in that way. Um, so in this scenario, we could actually do something like, let's say, like I joined these two tables, you can see the result. Both employee details and student details are joined together. Because initially, if I'm just to select all from employee, this is all I'm getting. And if I'm going to select all from students as well, I'll get students as well. But so do I have to keep to write? Do I have to keep, writing so much long queries when I can easily, write a just one line of code and store all my queries in there, right? So for example, let's start off with selecting all from students, selecting all from employee rather. So we can actually have something like create stop procedure. Let me clear this real quick. So we can have something like create stop procedure, create stop procedure. Then I'll give the procedure a name. Let's just put that like let me give it the name of select all employees, right? Then what do I want? What query do I want to embed in the procedure? I'll just put that as. Then I can just put something like select all from employees. So this should work. But in real life, I'm going to write it. I can just add the begin and end transactional keyword there. So if I run this code, it should create a stop procedure for me. So it says command completed successfully. Now let's go to our code. Let me refresh the database itself. Then I'll go to programmability, then stop procedure. Under stop procedure, I should see the select all employees in the stop procedure itself. There we have it. So this is our new stop procedure here. Let me drag it here. So now instead of me writing select all from employee, I can just simply write my stop procedure name, which is select all employee. I'll just tell the SQL, server to run execute. That's the keyword I'll use. Execute select all employees, period. So regardless how long the line of code in the procedure is, it will just run a select all employees, and there I have all my employees. So what if I want to write a stop procedure that actually selects a specific employee? Something like if I want to write something like select all employees where employee ID equal to 3. Right now there's a parameter that comes with this. So what I'll do is while let me create a stop procedure, select employees by ID. Let's change that to select employees by ID. So I'm creating new stop procedure here. Don't be confused. I'm creating new stop procedure. So about this stop procedure, I want to be able to select employees by their ID. So what I'll do is I have to, create a variable uh, that has to take what ID is coming in from the user. So it's just like in reality, when you are, presenting your application, it tells you to enter your ID number in a text box, right? So it will use the ID number to fetch your details. but then I need to have something that can hold the ID variable. I'll just put something like employee ID EID. Then it will be a type of integer. So I've declared a variable there, right? So instead of me explicitly putting 3 here, I'll just put it as whatever the user has input in this variable. I'll put it here. So select employee ID, select all from employee where ID equal to whatever the user input here, because I've declared it here. So if I create this stored procedure now and we go back to refresh our programmability, we should have the select employee by ID stored procedure there. There we have it. So what I'll do is I'll drag that here, select employee by ID. So if I actually run this, like, which is execute, and I did not provide the ID, it's going to give me error, right? It says select employee ID, expect a parameter EID. So it's expecting the user to input an ID. So what I would do is explicitly I can just do EID equal to 2, right? So but in reality this is something that the user will input from the interface. So if I execute this, it will give me the employee ID 2. So basically that's the idea of stored procedure, and you can have even 1,000 lines of code in your stored procedure. The main thing is you don't have to keep rewriting all the code. You just need to call this stored procedure. And the thing is, this is even faster than reading through your queries itself. By the time you are running a full function application, stored procedures is faster and more secure to avoid SQL injection. Because it's pre-compiled, it's already compiled. You just need to call it, mention it, and it will fetch you all the data. So this is the most basic, explanation of how stored procedures work. In reality, your SQL queries might be much more complex, but this is still the same way you create a stored procedure, and then you embed all your SQL queries inside of there, and that's it. But as we proceed, if you stick around, I will eventually get to a point where I'm creating full functional MVC projects where we are actually calling stored procedures and using complex queries. But I just want to make sure I'm taking all this step by step till we get to that uh, stage, and if you stick around we'll eventually get there. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any question or any doubt, please put it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.